All right, so I need to go over a few things that we need to talk about in terms of, there were a few things that were tripping you up. And one of the pieces of code was this how to VTE API. Um, the be- if we look at at the beginning of this, um, they created a how to VTE project. And basically, again, right here, how to EDVT, basically when they created the class, they created it within that package, essentially. And like, package is not really namespace is probably the better term. It's a little odd. But basically, particularly in the older, like when you started with Unreal Engine 4, early Unreal Engine 4, the engine was set up slightly different than it is now. And what they did is that they had this big header package that basically had nearly every single class, reference to every single class that you could possibly use. And the problem with that is that it took like 15, 20 longer with, it took longer, 15 longer because, sorry about that, Alex. It took 15, 20 minutes to compile that. And so what you're seeing now with, things are getting Unreal up. What they've done is they've made a core set of things that only get compiled. This is why we needed a reference to the text render component in the .cpp. We needed that in the CPP because we could use it in the .h without issue. That's the first thing that changes. That this .text render component needed to move from the CPP. You guys were putting the CPP file, and you needed to go to the header file instead. And that was one of the big things. Some of you, again, if we're going back, you were copying. So you were copying this over, and that's not what you wanted. You wanted that actually should have been your project. Let me bring up the CPP development. So again, the project for me is going to be CPP development. And let's go to my content draw. Here's floating actor. Come on, wake up. If I bring up Visual Studio, that if I go to the .h, you can see that here's the CPP. Here's the name of the CPP development _API. So that's one of the things is you were copying over the project name from what was created once upon a time, and not using your own project. That was one of the big things that people were. And just by taking that out, we were able to get around some of the issues. Again, here is, you can see, here, this is a floating actor. Do I have the explosion actor? No, I don't, not here. Again, the other issue was that we were dealing with an issue where set text, we were not getting again, Unreal has 3 types of strings: F string, F name, and F text. And they have individual uses. Like name is like name of your character, name of the object in the engine. That's what a name is. ftext is basically is a I believe it has localization context with it, but it's a variant of the string for its particular purpose. And then finally there is just the bulk string, the actual, what we would think is string information. So anytime we had there's that text macro that's supposed to take a string and convert it to a text, that's starting to fail for whatever reason, and I don't understand why. Well, I do. It's old code. It's old. It's a macro. It's old code. It's not necessarily what we want, and we now have the ftext class with a from string method that's static that we can access. And so we got around the issue with that particular class by that. The other thing that I saw was that, particularly in the CP file, here is the constructor, and I saw several of you copying the code from the tutorial and copying the constructor that they have wholesale into your file, leaving the original constructor there as well, and that was causing problems. That you had basically you basically two versions of the same function, parameters, same signature, same return value, and that was an issue. So those are the things that I saw with that particular assignment. I want to go just remind you that we were creating, and now in the next class so in the original assignment we're going to move on to lab 4, and lab 4 is basically recreating the possession. There's the assignment for possession, where basically you type one of the keys. And our problem is that in that assignment, we were able to use the level blueprint to do the things that we wanted to do to set that up. We don't have access to that because we're in C++. And so the decision was to move information related to the which pawn we're going to possess. We moved it into a class which right here I have is called robot holder. And so we had a reference to each of these. We are holding a reference. Ultimately, what we want is a reference of an actor, or in this case, a pawn. In this case, we got a pawn. We're in C++, so they are all type pointers. And remember, A in front of a class name refers to it as basically this is a, the engine needs that letter in front of it for its own internal conventions. So so A refers to actor, U is our generic objects, components. F are specific types, and you'll see F. Again, I brought over F text, F string, F name. F vector as well, and that's thank you. And these are kind of like essentially most of the structures that you'll be using. I know E is for enum. So you've seen that show up when you see the E. That's a signature. Why is Unreal doing this? There is once upon a time. It's not as prevalent as it is today, but Unreal still comes from the 90s where it was prevalent. There's this idea. It's called Hungarian notation, and it comes from Microsoft. It's called Hungarian notation because the person who developed it and devised this practice was from Hungary. He's Hungarian, hence the Hungarian notation. But the idea is that to help, there was this idea at the time that you should name your variables with a prefix in front of it to help indicate what type of variable it was. So underscore B for Booleans. We're seeing again F for structures, E for enums, A for actors, B, U for this idea of this prefix in front of the variable name was prevalent when Unreal was originally written. And it's a technology. It's a technology debt. We don't need to do this today. We've moved beyond that. We've got, and this is before IntelliSense really was IntelliSense and was as you know it today. So this was just before IntelliSense came into being with Microsoft in Visual Studio. So it was important for other programmers. It was basically a way for other programmers to know what type of variable you were dealing with just by how it was named. History lesson for all of you today. What is Hungarian notation? It has gone away. It's not as prevalent, and I know there's still pieces of the engine where that still shows up. I know there's pieces of the engine where I think the interface knows, like, if it sees B is active, it knows to strip out the B and just give you the variable called is active. B being a Boolean in this case. Yeah, there was a lot of, again, you go in older versions, you'll see Booleans always be this, be that for Booleans. So. Just trying to think. I should have turned this off because it doesn't actually tick, but that's not a big deal. The thing that I did, and I kind of regret doing this now, is that I went into the character class, the core character class. Let's bring up the .agent.cpp. Where did I put the code? Yeah, here we go. Here is this check spawn robot function. So I went in and I basically added things to this class right here. I probably should not have done that. I probably should have inherited one more time. And I probably should have inherited another class level to write my code in. It is what it is, unfortunately. I have gone in and I basically have and set up, here's begin play, here is setting up getting the holder class. This is dangerous code because I am casting to that. This assumes that there is a holder in the world. If there isn't that holder class, I am SOL, and this is gonna, all this code right here is gonna fail because this is gonna be a null variable. This is gonna be a null. We go down to where's my select? Here's my select one. Here is again holder right here. Again, if there's not a holder in the world, that's gonna end up being a null variable. After everything's said and done. In fact, it would actually break here first. This line of code is dangerous because I'm getting actor class, and then I'm trying to cast it, and I could cast a null variable, and that could end up being an issue. So I'm just pointing out this is probably I need to break this. Yeah, probably need to break this down to a few more steps. All right. Any questions about what we're doing? What is there? Any questions about the possession lab that I didn't go over last week? What's up? Nothing. All right. Okay. So let's take that into account. Let's move on. Make this a little bit bigger. Okay. So in 1303, you had in the same lab as the possession lab, you had a this was the third piece of that lab, and it was basically I had you build a path runner, and this is the bulk of the work in that particular lab was this path runner. We are going to create a new C++ class inheriting from actor named path runner CPP specifically. That'll move across an array of actors in the scene. I've literally taken this is the objective from the document itself with the sole exception change that it is now going to be a C++ class. I'll go over the document one more time with you just to remind with you. One of the things that you may consider you can do is that you'll write your C++ class and then create a blueprint class right away and give it like a static mesh, so that it's visible and can be placed in the scene, and its location can be moved around. To complete this assignment, you're going to use the Unreal's T-array, the array container. You'll be storing references of actor, so that's a actor star, so it's a pointer to an actor. This is how you would have set that up in Blueprint. Path list, variable type actor, and then you would have set the array. And I set the description list of actor to path. And this is how the C++ header tool preview formats it. Property, blueprint, read, write, edit, defaults only. Actually, probably would have done edits. Probably would have done edit anywhere. I gave it a category of path runner, but it's a T-array of a actor star path list. And this is screwed up, but anyways, but you can access, and the thing about, you can again access the path list. This is the array of what we've created. In this case, will be path list, path list index, which is one of the variables. Extra credit. Remember, we had path points. This is basically this. We created a path point. We created a path point class in Blueprint originally in the assignment. Create, rather than using actors, we went to create a path point C++ store reference of that class instead of actor. So our path list is of path points as opposed to just generic other actors. Do we need to go this way? No. This specializes makes it. There may be a case in point where this is important. The other thing is that you can complete this assignment using C++ alone. So you won't create any new classes inheriting from the assignment C++ classes. So that cube that we want, you know how to set that up in C++. These path points, if you wanted to create them in just purely in C++, you know how to do that. Again, add a static mesh and select the object. No big deal. So these are ways to get extra credit. This is like, hey, here's a low-hanging fruit for stuff you can do. Go for it. So let's go over what would be our lecture document. I'm just going to download it because, again, this is going to refer to the blueprint stuff. I have slightly edited the document to be more clear. So again, here's the blueprint actor. We're just going to jump to it. Again, pathless, array of actors, it's public. Pathless index, integer default to 0. This is the index in the path list. Current point. Where we're moving to. Move speed, move direction. Vector 3, again, this will be in Unreal, this will be the F vector though. Point within range, how close, we're going to default to 50 because this is 50. Why 50? Because we're dealing with Unreal units, which are really small. Has dynamic direction. The original document had this as had HAD and not HAS. And then we have an is active, which basically it's a tool for us to turn on and off the tool for us to turn on and off the ticking internally for our purposes. Methods: next path point, set move direction, move runner, check distance, and update. That's not. This won't call net. Well, we could. This would be basically. Let's just check distance and update. We would actually probably just do check distance in this case. I'll update the document, but basically, essentially, again, you've written this before. You've written this. Those of you who've taken the first Unity course, you've written this class before. On begin play, set current path point to item 0 in the path list. Call sets move direction, which sets the move direction. Runner set 1, 2. Again, calls move runner, passing delta sets to the function, calls check distance and update. This is actually an if check distance. But like map setup, place 4 path points level, place a path runner in the level, assign the path points. You've done this. Let's go and let's actually create. Let's go through this new C++ class. Again, it's going to be an actor. It's not a pawn because we're not possessing it. It's not a character because it's not going to be a humanoid. So that's why we're staying with actor. And this is going to be path runner. And I'm just going to use the CPP in front of it. I'll create the class. Unreal compile. All right. And go to my content draw. I'm just going to make a new folder. I'm going to call this lab 05. I'm just going to jump right in and I'll make a new blueprint class. I'm going to go to all classes. Again, I'm going to do path runner CPP. This is going to be path runner BP. There we go. And again, I'm going to add a cube. I mean, I could have done this in the CPP file, but I know how to. It's easier to do this here. The one thing I am going to do again on the cube. Here's its transform. I believe I need to move it up. Is it 50? Yeah, there we go. So it is basically sitting here at the scene root, as opposed to being at the center. The other thing I am going to go in here, because it'll be easier to set up, is its collision. It's going to be on the cube. And the prison, no collision. So those are literally the two things I need to do in Blueprint right now to set up, basically to set this up and put this into the scene. And I'm just going to just drop this now right here. I am going to grab these cubes. And these will effectively be my path points. And I'm going to go, let me just grab them all. And I'll make them this orange to make them stand out. Now, they are physics objects, so we can shoot them around, and our object will accordingly move in response. So just make sure we'll save this. So let's go back to our code. So we know, reload. There we go. Okay, let's get to the .h. I mean, the big thing here is that, ignore all of that in the moment. Let's get into this first public area, and we'll set up some variables. Let's go back to the assignment just quickly. We know that we want a T array of actor star. So it's going to be T. And this is going to be of type, this is my path list. And let's go take a look. Actually, let's grab all of these. Just to drop them here, just so that we have them. And 32, 0. Point. Speed, we'll set this to 500. This is going to be the F vector. Move. Direction. And this is actually not going to be public. This is more. Lowercase p private. This is a float. Point within range is 50. And I am going to use the old convention. So first thing that we will, I'm going to, again, save these. I'll come back and deal with the U properties in one moment. I'm going to address if is active right away. I'm just going to grab that. And we know that in tick, so basically I'm writing this right away. So if it's not active, return. That's normally we would not have this, but basically for our purposes, this is what that Boolean is doing here. If it's active, then hey, we're off to the races. Go back to the document here, and I'm going to grab. I'm going to write some back in public. We're going to do public down here. Void next path point. Set move direction. And again, these are all going to be, for the most part, are going to be void functions. Move runner. This is we're going to use float delta time. Again, this is the delta time. We're going to plug that right into this function. And why is it trying to compile? We'll let that, and then finally, we're just going to use check distance. So there's two ways we could do this. The way that it's set up is it's doing, there's a, so this is how the function is set up. For those who remember in the C#, we basically were passing. I'm going to streamline it and leave this as just check distance. We'll write it as it is. Now that I've got these, I'm just going to grab these lines of code. Again, we'll come back to, I don't think I need to do anything with U function with any of these. But we do need to go back. We do bring this into here. And we need to grab that. Again, we need to attach it to the class. And again, I can just go paste these in. Now let's go back and get the U property. Let's go look at the, if you look here, it is U property. Why did I not copy this? So I'm going to bring this to the side for one moment. Again, this is going to be U property. You know what? I'm going to go edit anywhere. Just going to make it edit anywhere, and then I'm definitely going to use the category. And I'm just going to literally grab these. I don't need the path index. I do need the move speed, point within range, and these are the 4 variables that I want to be able to edit anywhere. The path list index, actually, these probably should be internal. Is active. I probably do want to have edit anywhere. But these two right here, I probably want to take these out the public area and put these into my private down here. These are my variables internal, and I shouldn't be having to deal. Since I've now set that all up, I can take this out. Now let's save everything. Before I write any more code, let's just make sure everything's okay. Let's go back and compile. And then now I'm going to select right here, and you can see that here is my path runner. So I've got my path list, which I need to set up the array elements, which will be 4. So it will be U. Let me go grab the path runner again. I'm going to lock the interface for one moment. So U will be, I need to see, there we go. So I'm going to go in now. Why not edit defaults? Because I wanted to be able to edit this in the object. Plus, I have access to the path list. I can add points to it if I decide to do so. So far, so good. Save everything. All right, so now basically we are going to go into our code and set things up. So in begin play, again, our current point is going to be our path list. Path list index, and obviously we're going to do path list index is equal to 0. I should error check here. If list is empty, yell about it and do nothing. I'm gonna ignore that for right now, just to keep things moving. But then I am gonna do a literally call set move direction. So I'm setting that correctly. In our tick, so if we're past here, basically the first thing that we really want, again, if has dynamic direction, then we'll set the move direction. So this is basically every frame. If this is on every frame, it's going to call set move direction. So if objects move around, it accounts for that. That's again the purpose of that. We are literally going to go to move runner. And then check distance. And I forgot to add the delta time in here. So that's what it's yelling about. And that's basically our tick. You know, if check this is going to check the distance between our location to the other location. And if it's within that distance, it's going to basically call next path point and move on. Next path point, pretty simple. You've seen this. Path with index is greater than or equal to the path list dot num. Hold on. And I am not doing this correctly. Let's go back to the document. Let's go back to this is where we need to go look at the array container. Sorting. On the correct number, non-iteration. Oh, it's num. Okay. Oh, lowercase l. There we go. There we go. I was right, correct. Okay. So, again, if you're looking for the count, there is the number. And again, this is basically, if that's the case, then, hey, pathless index is equal to 0. And then finally, we're going to grab this line of code one more time. So you've seen this code. So f vector a is equal to our location. So there's going to be location. The current point it's not a dot, it's going to be get actor location. and then direction. Actually, we can just, instead of creating another variable, just do move direction. Move direction is going to be equal to move direction normalize. What does he know about? Oh, normalize in place. Okay, so we don't have to do this operation. I'm gonna grab this. Again, I want A and B, but this is actually, I do want an F vector. Distance. And then we can basically go if is less than or equal to, why is he on about that? Oh, it's a method, that's why. Point within range. This is where we'll actually call the next, what did I call it? Next path point. And then set move direction. So again, this object is working on the assumption that, hey, we're basically, that this move direction is set up when this gets called. All right.
Should you multiply the move direction by the move speed?
Not yet.
Not yet.
No, that's the next thing we're going to do. Yeah, that we're basically we've done. Accounted for this, accounted for this, accounted for this function, accounted for when that needs to go set off. And this is one of those, this should have maybe returned back. This again, one of the things that we had done in the C# code is this returns back true or false. Mm-hmm. And this would have been like, we've done, basically this, it's one way of doing both things. I mean, multiple ways of doing the same thing. In this case, we're going to actually do with the path point and move direction here. In the C# code, this returned back a true or false value. Yeah, it did return back a true or false value, and then that would have been in the tick. That would have been an if statement here instead. But
Gotcha.
yeah, it's. I'm going with how I've written the document previously, because in Blueprint it makes sense to do that if statement and to do all of that there. So moving on. So the last thing is basically just move runner, and then this is again where you're talking about we want S vector location, get actor location. Do F. I'm going to make this F. Not the most streamlined, but this is the delta. I'll do delta location. And this is going to be our move direction times move speed. Move speed times delta time. And then we can do set actor. And that's our code. And I'm going to save everything. I am going to go back to Unreal. I'm going to compile to make sure everything is all good. And then press play, and you can see that off it goes. Is dynamic. Let me get the. Oh no! I now have shot that out of the arena, and it will. That's gonna be. Yeah, that's gonna be interesting. So yeah, so one of the first things that we probably should do. Let me see. Let's make these 5,000. That's not. What's the location? Thank you. 200. I am working on the wrong object because I've locked everything. There we go. Okay. I'm just gonna make these 20 just to. The real solution is to put in blocking volumes, but I'm just not gonna worry about that right now. Probably done something. Oh, watch me. Okay, I got lucky this time. 200 was just enough to get it over. I have no clue which one is which anymore. But you can see that it is functioning now with, I have has dynamic on. So. One of the things that, again, we were playing with the floating actor. One of the things that we need to, again, there is the get relative scale, get actor. We can get its forward vector now. The one thing I'm not doing is I'm not setting its rotation. What's it? to go and do a rotation. We'll worry about that later on. But basically, we're not setting the actor's forward position, which is we can. I think one of the things that we do want to do is make sure. I think we probably need to change? No, we should be okay. I think my concern is that if the vector is 0, but we're not going to get. If it's a 0, then we're not going to move. I think basically what we would want if move. Yeah, this is where if we wanted to do this properly, I'd have to do another f vector to store the b minus a, and then check the b minus a vector to make sure that it has a length before doing the normalization and assigning that to this variable. So I'm going to leave this alone right now. Are there any questions about this lab assignment? I mean, I just did it with you in code.
You know how you assign everything through the editor to the path list?
Yep.
Is there a way to just like in Unity where you can just do find objects by type and just
No, we can't do we could do that.
Because in the extra credit, I think you're
Yeah, but
supposed to just-
you're still going to have to create. Well, no. See. Here's the thing. If you're even if you, the extra credit says you do everything with the C++ side.
Yeah, and then just
The piece. Let's get clear what that entails. In the path runner, basically, here is. Hold on. Clear. Windows, bring up my details, clear out. No. So in the map, let's go back to this object right here. We have this path runner section right here. Even if we were doing the C++ class, you would still go in here and assign those.
it's just
The difference between basically the big thing is that the cube right here, we're setting the cube here and giving it no collision.
oh,
That's
give it
basically
this back.
basically what we're doing right now. Is that we're just setting up the cube, we're giving it and setting it no collision. We can do that in C++, but why when it's just easier to do this? Yeah, this is one of those. Unreal has moved to. There's a blueprint class on top of your C++ class that finishes the class. Another good example is like again, we set up a character class that is for we're making a deathmatch game. We'll set up a generic character class for and we're assuming just deathmatch. Everyone's. We're not talking about different classes. So we're not talking like Team Fortress. We're not talking like. And the finals has 3 different classes. Has small, medium, and large, basically.
So there's no way to get like a reference to a game?
No. You can get. We can get reference.
Besides
Oh,
like
no.
triggers?
No, the issue is that you are asking for. You want to get like the path points if we set up a class for path points, you're like, hey world, where are all my path points?
Yeah.
The problem with that method. What's the order of the path points?
You said what?
What's the order of the path points?
I mean, you can get them and then they're already in an array, right? You can kinda
No, but how do you know what's the order of the path points? That's why you're assigning them in the editor. That's why that's being done. Like I understand what you're saying. You can do that. You can go out and get all of the classes. But the problem is that it's not just a collection of it's not just only the information is not just a collection of them, but the order they are in. I mean, we can go and we can change up the order of those path points.
But it's not practical, right?
But it's not practical. This is it's a the only way. The only way you would know how that would go about is that you'd have to pick one of the path points and say, like, one of the things so what you'd have to do is you'd have to set up a system where the path point knows what's the next path point in it.
It's still comparing the transfer.
And so like basically what you have to do is that, and don't get me wrong, there are engines and systems that do this, where basically this path point points to the next path point, and that path point points to the next one. Problem is you're going to have to then look at look at the path. It's one of those you'd have to figure out where the end of the path is, and go backwards and figure out, okay, this point is that one, this one's pointing that one, who's pointing to me, who's pointing to that one, until you find.
It's a lot of work.
It's not that it's not possible. It's just you are. I mean the way that like Quake deals with it is that it give it the first path point, like for monsters that roam in Quake maps. If you generate your path, that path point goes to the next one, to the next one, to the next one, and you give the first path point to the monster.
And then it just follows.
And it follows that setup. That's the way you would have to go. Is you'd have to you still need a reference to the path points.
Yeah, I guess so. You're right.
Again, it's not like spawn points. Like if we were talking about spawn points, that's a different matter. That's like, hey, give me all the spawn points. Cool. Then you can just pick a spawn point out of the world, and that's how Unreal, in a generic deathmatch scenario, that's what it's doing. It's just getting all the path points, and if you look back into our,
Is there like a function for that?
there is, and I'm off the top of my head not sure the C++ code for it, but it's get actors of this type essentially. We did that. We just did that in Unity. Those are in the Game Simulation 2 class. We just wrote something where the game manager on start, I believe, called a method to get actors of the class, which are basically our spawn points.
That was the Unreal one was get actor of class, and you use the.
Yeah, it was getting.
Kinematic something like. We just did it last week with the robot holder.
Yeah, let me go back to the robot. It's not in the hoarder.
Oh,
It's in the. We had to do it in the character class. Character.cpp. Yeah, so it's gameplay statistics. So again, this is one of those Kismet gameplay. Why? Okay, history lesson. Why is it called this? It's because Kismet was basically the. It was what Blueprint was called before. So that's where gameplay statistics. So we're using, again, this is one of those gameplay statistics. Again, this is just a generic utility object. Get actor of class. Again, we're asked the world, and then it goes in and we had to give it the robot holder. So we had to ask the class type. The the class itself asks what it is, its static class type.
That just returns one thing, though, right? Just one.
Yeah, it's going to return one thing. So I know there's probably just to jump in. Let's go grab. You put gameplay statistics. Just get all actors. So get all actors of class. There is get all actors of tag. Guys, please don't use the tag system. Like I know it there exists, but it's like the tag system only exists to help Unity people who are coming over from Unity. Really, I mean, it's better than Unity. It's actually better, given how Unreal is set up. It's actually better than Unity system. So it's actually they're hooray, get tag. Get all actors with tag. Get exec. Ignore the execs. Get all actors of class. Get actors with tag. So.
Sir, do be a fellow moment. We do love the tag system.
I hate the tag system. Look, the tag system only exists in Unreal since Unreal Engine 4, and Unreal Engine 4 basically took all the best things from Unity and implemented them. Like, cool, but like I'm like from Unreal Engine 2, and sometimes a little bit earlier, depending on what I was working on. I was making maps for Unreal Engine 2 and 2.5 when I was 20 years ago. We didn't have a tag system. We didn't care about a tag system. We didn't need a tag system. So, it's only here because they were taking the best stuff from Unity. And how do I know that? Because I saw how when things went from UDK to Unreal Engine 4, that's when it showed up. I looked over Unreal Engine 4. I was like, wow, you really did look at the best at Unity when you built this engine. Anyways, so. Any other questions? Anything you want me to rant on before I end this lecture video is going to be very interesting. And you wonder why I don't turn on remixing on the lecture videos. Because at some point, the one I forget will be remixed in horrible ways. And you won't share it with me. That's the thing, is you won't share it with me. And that's the sad part. If you're going to make fun of me, at least share it with me.
Will do.
Yeah.
The one thing I just remember is the one time we played Jackbox on the
Anyway, any questions before this is starting to get out of hand at the moment? Any questions before I stop the recording? No? Going once? Any? Alex, do you have any questions? No questions from me.